Hello everybody and welcome back to another rhythm guitar lesson, and today I want to show you how to make use of the 6th and the 7th chord. And this lesson is mainly for beginners or intermediate players who still don't know how to find these chords and also how to apply them. And that was me when I started playing guitar at the age of 15. I just knew some major chords in the open position, and then I bought this book, Once the Wall Came Down, with a bunch of Elvis songs, and that's the first time when I came across the 7th chord, like the G7, and at first they didn't even sound good to me, so I didn't use them for like 5 years or so, and then I really learned how to make use of them, how they could sound good. So let's start with the 6th chord, and I will show you a simple 3-step method how you can find the 6th chord for any open chord. Let's start with E, because E is the most common one in rockabilly. So step 1 is to find the highest root note. So the E chord, you want to find the highest E in the chord. We got 3 E's here, open E string, then the one on the 2nd fret and another open E string. And this is obviously the highest E, the highest root note. So then, second step, you move to the next string above, which is B in this case. And whatever note you have there, in this case it would be the open B string, you move it up 2 frets. And then in step 3, you want to add this note to your chord. E. You want to add this note that we just found. So this will be the E6. Here we only have the pinky left to put it onto the new tone, onto the 2nd fret, B string. And for most of the time I wouldn't use it like this when I play acoustic guitar, but instead I would go back and forth between the regular chord and the 6th chord, so it sounds like this. So you're creating this great groove. You can do it faster. Like this. Go back and forth between the regular A chord and the A6. Now let's do this for another chord, for A. Another common one. And I grab the A like this, as I explained in many videos. But you can use this shape as well. Or maybe use these 3 fingers. Or this one, old style. Again, find the highest root note. So we got 2 A's here, open A string, and then the one on the G string. Now go back to your chord. When we found the highest root note, this one, we want to go 1 string above, then 2 frets to the right, which would be the 4th. And add it to the chord. Now obviously when I grab the A like this, it's really hard to put the pinky onto the 4th fret. So what I would do instead is a change so that I have my index on the D, G and B string. And then the E string, I just grab dirty like this, muted. And then you have the open A string as well. So then you can add the ring finger to the 4th fret, the note we just found, the 6, and can again go back and forth between the regular chord and the 6th chord like this. And you can also add the open string here. Or you can play it like this. Now there's another way of doing it for A. If you know the notes here, which is always an advantage, this would be an E, and this is F sharp. And you also have E here and F sharp here. So for A you could play something like this. Still works. Let's do one other example for the D chord. You got D here and D here. Again, in the next step, this is the highest D that we have, the highest root note. We go one string above, and we have the note on the second fret here, the A. So we move it up 2 frets to the 4th, and we want to add this note to the chord. So this is what we get. Most of the time I will use this D here, this shape, where I just use 2 fingers. The first finger is on the top 3 strings, G, B and E, 2nd fret, and then the middle finger goes onto the B string. And this might be harder at first, but if you want to go back and forth between the D and the D6, I think this is easier. And again, you can add the open D string, so it's fuller. I just decided I'll show you 3 more chords. F, real quick. This is the highest F, and then you go to the string above, 2 frets to the right. Then for C, the highest C, string above, and then you can use the 2nd fret again. And this time I use the middle finger and go back and forth between the D and the G string. Now for G, a little exception. I wouldn't use the highest G, but instead the G string. And string above is D. Again, we use the 2nd fret. Yeah. This is the 6th chord. If you want a more in-depth look at musical theory, then I highly recommend my Udemy course, Rockabilly Guitar for Beginners. And if you want to learn some more rhythm guitar licks and patterns for electric guitar, then I have a course for you as well, and this is called a Rockabilly Rhythm Guitar. If you follow the link in the description below, you can pick up both courses and all my other Udemy courses for just $14.99 each. For the 7th chord, you have 2 options of finding the right note. The first one is this. You want to find the root note which is not an open string, a fretted root note, in this case for E, the one on the D string, 2nd fret. And then you move it 2 frets to the left. So in this case it would be the open D string. So this is an E. And you take away your ring finger, so you get the open D string, and this is the E7 chord. And it works for A as well. You get A, and then on the G string, 2nd fret is your A. Just take it away. A7. Now let's apply the same technique for D. You find the root note, which is fretted, the D here, move it 2 frets to the left. This is hard to do, so you gotta change fingers here. D7, this is the C here. G, very easy. This is the note that you want to change. 2 frets to the left. Just add your index to the 1st fret of the E string. Gotta take your pinky away then. Then Let's do C. The C is a little more complicated because you get the C here on the first fret, and obviously you can't move it 2 frets to the left. But think about it this way. You got the C also here on the G string. Yeah? Same note, C. And then you can move this C 2 frets to the left, and you add this note to the C chord. And you get C7. Now what is the second option? The second option would be that you find the 6th note again. Let's do this for F. And remember, this is the F6 chord. And you just move the 6th note 1 fret to the right. And you get to the 7th. You know, this is the F7th chord. And you can use this for E as well. Remember E, E6, so you take this note and move it 1 fret to the right. E7. For A, A6, A7. This would be your second option. How do we use the 7th chord? It's often used to lead into another chord in the chord progression. For instance, you start with E, then you play the E7. And you can probably hear that there's going to be a change now. Now we change to the A chord. And there's a general rule, yeah, which a chord will follow. It's always the one with a root note below the first chord. So we start with E. The root note is E. And the next chord will be this one, yeah, where the root note is just underneath the first chord. So in this case, A. E. E7 will lead you to A. Same applies for A. Yeah? We got A, and we play A7, and the next chord will be the one which has the root note right underneath A, which is D. So D will follow A7. Let's continue. We got D. D7. And what is next? We got D, and underneath D we got G. Yeah, so we got D, D7, and then the G chord. Then from G, G7, we get to C, because we got G here. And then on the next string below, we got C. Yeah, we got to take the same fret. And you can hear it. One more, C, and C7 will lead you to F, because F is below C. And this is how you use a 7th chord. I hope you found this lesson helpful, and in the next rhythm guitar lesson I will show you some more strumming patterns. So if you haven't done yet, please subscribe to the channel so you never miss a lesson like this one.